Today we're going to be showing you how to gain access to the internal components of a WS-55 series range hood. And before doing so, you're going to want to make sure that the power has been cut to the unit, as we're going to be around electrical components. So whether it be turning off the breaker or unplugging it from the outlet, once you verify that there's no power going to the unit, it's safe to work on. And we're going to begin by removing the actual light cover, which is going to give us leverage on this panel right here, which is going to come out. Now, you can remove it this way, but we actually don't recommend that you do that, because if you actually leave this on and then use this as leverage to remove the panel, you may end up damaging or even bending the grills. So we try to recommend not to do that. It's best to remove the cover so that we actually can grab onto the inside of the panel and remove it. And the panel itself is actually being held in by 3 screws that are sitting here at the top. But we're going to begin by removing this light cover first. Okay, now that the light cover has been removed and all 3 screws that are sitting here at the top have been removed, and we're actually going to go ahead and then grab a hold right here of the center of the bottom panel. And when doing so, you're actually going to be somewhat close to the light bulb. So actually, proceed with caution. Make sure that the light bulb is cool to the touch, or like I said, you're wearing some protective gloves so that you don't get burned. But in this case, the light bulb is nice and cold, so we don't have to worry about getting burned. And we're simply going to go ahead and slide our fingers in here, grab a hold of the center panel, and we're actually going to go ahead and then pull downwards. Once we got it this way, then we can go ahead and slide the rest out. And now we have this, and it's not going to fall down, so we have a nice good grip on it. We can slide it up, and now we have the panel out. Okay, now that we gain access to all the internal components, we're actually going to go ahead and show you how to replace a control switch. Now these are rocker style button control switches, so they're individual switches, and these are actually held in by teeth that actually bite on the sides of the stainless steel body. So what we're gonna have to do is we're actually gonna have to use a small flathead to go ahead and then compress the sides of the switch to actually pull the control switch out. But before doing that, we're actually gonna go ahead and make sure that we're not going to damage or scratch the stainless steel. So what you're going to want to do is use either duct tape or masking tape, and we're going to do is actually going to go and go on the inside to the back of the switch itself, and we're going to try to push it out as far out as we can. So right there is about as far as this switch is going to go out. So we make sure that it stays right there. Once it stays right there, now there's enough space to where we can actually slide tape on each side of the control switch. So we're actually going to go ahead and slide the tape in, like so. Okay, we got one right there. Now see, now this one actually went in a little bit more, so we're actually going to have to rework it out. Okay, once you get that in, go ahead and slide the second piece. Okay, now we got both pieces. If you wanted to, you can go place more tape farther out. But as this is just for the demo purpose, we're not going to completely tape everything off. But if you wanted to, just to be safe, so you don't slip or actually gouge out the stainless steel, then you may want to completely tape off the stainless steel on here. So once you get that done, now we're actually going to go ahead and grab a small flathead screwdriver, and we're going to start working out the actual brackets that are on the side of the switch. Okay, now that we have both the sides of the switch taped off, we can actually go ahead and start working by wiggling out the switch and compressing the sidewalls, as it's what's biting onto the stainless steel. So we're actually going to go ahead and then go on the inside. And since we're actually going to be working on the inside, also make sure that you are wearing protective gloves, as there may be some sharp items in here. So make sure that you're wearing some protective gloves and take your time. So I'm going to go ahead and slide my hand in, and I'm going to go ahead and then pinch on the back of the switch itself, and I'm going to press it forward as far as I can, and then with the small flathead screwdriver, I'm going to go ahead and then start digging in here on the side of the switch and compressing that thing. See, as you can see, One side's already starting to come out. I'm going to hold that position and then go to the opposite side and do the same movement as well. I'm going to go ahead and press that in and then start wiggling it out. Be sure to take your time. There's no rush. And as you can see, now that I've wiggled out and I actually pressed in the sidewalls, now the switch is going to slide right out, giving us access to the wires right here. Okay, and just for reference, we actually have another switch just laying here so that you can actually see on the motions that we're actually doing. And as you can see, these are the actual sides of the switch that actually bite onto the stainless steel. And like I said, this is what we're actually compressing on the inside. And like I said, you're going to actually hold on to the back of the switch on the inside of the body. And with the flathead, you're actually going to go ahead and then bend these sides in right here. As you can see that they have a triangle shape right here on the sides. That's what we're actually bending in to loosen from the wall. And basically, you're just going back and forth until the switch completely comes out of the housing. Okay, now that we have the switch out, we can actually go ahead and see the wires that are actually being held into place on the connection ports right here to the switch. So before we actually remove these, we're going to want to use a needle nose plier. But before doing so, you're actually going to want to go ahead and tape the heads on it so that the teeth don't bite into the wires or the clips, because you actually don't want to damage any of the this housing right here that covers the clip and the wire. So make sure, just for protection purposes, go ahead and then tape up the tips of the needle nose pliers. And we're actually going to go do it one wire at a time so that we don't get confused as far as the orientation or the order of the wires. So we're actually going to go ahead and start off with the blue wire, and we actually have our replacement switch right here. So as you can see, it's the same switch and 3-prong in the back. So we're actually going to go ahead and remove the first wire, and you're actually going to want to go ahead and grab it right here from the underside, right in the middle where the top of the connection is to the wire. So we're actually going to and squeeze it right there and give it a nice little tug, like so. As you can see, now the blue wire has been disconnected from the clip. Now we can actually go ahead and hold on to that wire. And as you can see, it's the blue wire which is facing the single side switch versus the second speed. So it's the actual connector or the prong that's all the way to the right with the first switch. So we're going to go ahead and line that up with the same one, which is side 1, and we're going to go to the farthest prong and go ahead and connect that like so. And we're just going to continue the steps for the rest of the wires. And once all the wires have actually been transferred over to the new switch, we can actually go ahead and discard of the old one and push in the new one. Okay, now that we have all of the wires transferred over to our new switch, we can actually go ahead and then reinstall the rocker button switch. And before doing so, we can actually go ahead and now remove the tape, as we want the switch to seat properly, to actually sit properly against the stainless steel body. So we're actually going to go ahead and remove the tape out of the way. And if you wanted to, you could actually go ahead and then clean it up if there's any residue left from the tape. It's best to actually do that now. And we're just going to go ahead and then press in the new switch, as so, and just go ahead and give it right in the center. As you can see, now the teeth are biting into the sides of the stainless steel housing, and the switch has been replaced. The same step is going to apply to the remaining switches, so there's actually no confusion. Just go ahead and do one switch at a time. Okay, now that we've finished our work with the internals of the WS-55 Range Hood, we're actually going to go ahead and reinstall the bottom panel. And before doing so, you're actually going to want to remove the rear rectangular oil cups, as you don't want the actual plate, the actual cover itself, to damage or chip any of the handles on here. So we're going to go ahead and get those out of the way first. Once those out of the way, we can actually go ahead and install the lower panel. And we're going to begin so by make sure you line up the light opening with the light bulb, And you're going to start by placing the bottom side of the panel in first, and then sliding up the front to where the screws actually go in. So we're going to go ahead and line it up. Okay, that's sitting nice and flush in the back, sitting nice and properly. Now we can go ahead and grasp the middle of the panel and press it up against the body itself. And like so, we're actually going to go ahead and now reinstall all 3 screws and reinstall our rear rectangular oil cups along with the light cover, and you're done.